Thank you so much for coming to our 5G summit, and on behalf of Huawei, I would like to thank you and also thank GSMA for supporting us and for your very nice presentation.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me to share the global perspective on the 5G. Thank you.
So can you elaborate more on how did you see in today's summit and the opportunities overall in Bangladesh regarding telecom and also the other industries as well?
I think before I talk about Bangladesh, let's look at the Asia Pacific as a region. We are seeing mobile broadband technology becoming more dominant now, with more and more 3G and 4G connections being added, and we foresee 4G connection to pass 50% of the total connections by end of next year within the APAC region. And out of those, the key drivers we are seeing would come mostly from Bangladesh, India, and few other countries where it's a good 4G potential coming from Bangladesh. And especially with the 4G auction happened very recently, early this year, it was a very good step taken by the government of Bangladesh, where they introduced the 4G and LTE services.
Why do you think Bangladesh talked about 5G today, and especially the 4G was just started? And what value you think 5G will bring more than what 4G?
What we are seeing in other part of the world as well is the first use cases would come from the enhanced mobile broadband, and it would definitely provide fillip to the digital Bangladesh vision. And coming back to the 4G coverage, I think the Honorable ICT advisor also mentioned that within the last 6 months, we have seen tremendous 4G coverage in Bangladesh. In fact, just on that point, I think Huawei, we just saw a demo, and with the speed reaching more than around 4 gigabit per second, and we have the live tower as well at the site.
Of course, that was very exciting, and we did that with collaboration with BTRC, the Bangladesh Telecom Regulatory. It's about 800 megahertz on 28 giga band, and we reach a little bit beyond the 4 gigabit per second. How can Bangladesh government, and you saw them today, like the ministers and also the advisor, the ICT advisor, how can they help to escalate or to enhance the pace of deployment for both 4G and the 5G?
First, I think the most important being is the availability of the spectrum. The government needs to think about long-term benefit that can come from a new technology. So it needs to support the industry during the WRC-19 for key spectrum bands. The key spectrum bands that are being discussed under the agenda item 1.13 is 26 gigahertz. The other key emerging band we are seeing is the 40 gigahertz. What is relevant is what spectrum band you give to the industry and at what cost. So the second factor is more relevant in a country like Bangladesh, where the ARPU is one of the lowest in the world. With 5G, a lot of investment has to come from the industry. You need to deploy so many small cell deployments. So pricing needs to be considered accordingly. 5G as a technology requires a lot of capex to be put into the network. So probably one of the option could be to give some spectrum to the operators to start with without any fee, and see the rollout and the take-up of the services, because the next challenge is the industry is still figuring out the business model. The new market coming in, the new services that needs to be provided, so it is still uncertain at this stage. Factors like pricing, spectrum, I think also the fragmentation is very relevant for a new technology. But I think just to conclude, Bangladesh is at the right time discussing the 5G, and probably would follow the global best practices.
Everybody needs to transform. Vendors need to transform. Industry organization, regulatory. We need to make sure that regulatory environment enables as a platform, open environment for innovation, and also enable the carriers to innovate in services as well. So thank you so much, and we'll see how it goes here from now on in Bangladesh and the whole region as well. Well, thank you for so much. Thank you.